in my garage gym, and that's what you see right behind me. I am so excited for this. It's literally one of my biggest dreams to have this garage gym. So I will be giving you guys a tour of all of the accessories that I have. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, a lot of my clients come to me and the biggest thing that they say is that they have no upper body strength, and they wish every day that they could have a really good push-up or a really awesome pull-up. And that is not something that's gonna happen overnight, right? So the more that you work out your upper body, the better chance you have of becoming stronger in it. I have 3 exercises today that, if performed properly, you guys could totally transform your upper body strength in no time. The only thing I ask is that these exercises be incorporated into your routine every single week, and every single week you either try to increase the weight, very minimal, maybe like 2 to 5 pounds, or you increase your rep count. Always try to push yourself every single time you're in the gym, and over time, I promise you that these are gonna come out so much easier than your first time doing them. It's just gonna take consistency and progression. All right, let's jump in to today's video. Hey guys, so the first thing that we're gonna do is push-ups. One of the biggest things that people have that struggle with is doing these on the floor. And hi to my dog. But if we try to add in a barbell or a Smith machine that you may have in your apartment gym or wherever, you can use a dining room table or anything that you've got that's around this height. So your goal is every single time you do these, I want you to lower the height and get as close to the ground as possible. Biggest thing that I want you guys to focus on is your form. So I don't want you sticking the booty out or tucking it in like that either, okay? I want a nice solid form, tuck the hips under, and the entire time I want you to squeeze your core really tight, and I want you to squeeze your butt really tight and keep that form in line. So what that looks like is, I don't want this, and I don't want that. Right, as you do these push-ups, right? I want you to keep that solid, and your goal with these is to also work out the triceps. So we're not doing these standard push-ups. What we're gonna do is bring the elbows close to the body and make sure that by doing that, you're not out here, you are here, right? So keep your hands as shoulder width apart, and you're going to step out. Biggest thing I say is a lot of people don't trust their own body weight. Your goal before beginning is to put your chest to the bar or to the table. That way you know from where you're starting. So always push off rather than, pull yourself to the ground, okay? So you're gonna start here. All right, now I got this done. I put my feet exactly where I want them to be. Another trick is that to make this a little bit easier, you would spread your feet apart. Okay, that's gonna give you a little less core stability, right? And it's gonna give you more balance. So if you're trying to work your core out a little bit more and make it a little more difficult, put your feet together. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our chest down here, touching the bar. We're going to push off and then return back to start. Push off, return back to start. Push off, return back to start. If at any point you start feeling like this is what you're doing, and if your feet are flat on the floor, you're probably doing it wrong because you're putting a lot of weight onto the soles of your feet rather than the tippy toes. By doing it on your tippy toes, it will prevent you from overcompensating and using the lower legs to push yourself off, okay? So keep that in mind. Breathing is also a really big deal here. When you breathe, I want you to breathe out on the hardest part of the movement. So it's gonna sound like this, although this is extremely dramatic of me. But this is what it's gonna sound like. Notice how the breath will help you. It will relax the body, get rid of any tension that shouldn't be there, and allow you to bring in oxygen to the muscles at work. All right, so now to number 2. We're gonna do an overhead shoulder press. There's so many ways to get this done. And honestly, when you are first starting out, you may want to just stick with dumbbells. It's going to be the easiest way to handle this. And as you progress, I would love for you guys to grab the bars. Biggest thing is we're going to put our hands up like this. You can do this from a seated position. You can do this standing up. Personally, I think seated position's ideal for beginners because it's going to prevent you from arching your back a whole lot when you're straining. So keep that in mind if that works for you. If you stand up, you are activating a lot more core engagement, so you are getting a little bit better of a workout in my opinion, but it will prevent you from being able to increase the weight early on, okay? So if we do this standing up, biggest thing I want you to look at in the mirror. A lot of people will do this as their starting point. Looks all kinds of wrong compared to what I just did, right? I want you to, from this position, I want you to lift up a little bit. I always say keep the dumbbells about ear level. And I want you to aim to have this part of your arm completely straight. I don't need you up here, right? When you do it like this, it's like the football field. I'd rather have you put your elbow down a little bit, okay? And just hold it there. So you'll notice that this and this, which one looks stronger, right? So let's try to stay really strong here. What we're gonna do is we're going to lift up above the head. Now, in my defense, I am standing here and I'm a little close, so I'm gonna back up a little bit. And you're going to lift up above the head. Straight arms and get as close to each other as possible without having them slap each other. All right? Biggest problems I see with these is that the weight is too heavy and you guys don't straighten your arms. So you end up doing this. Okay? I want you guys to really focus on the lines in the body. I want dumbbells by the ears. I want elbow and wrist in a straight line. And I want you to lift up straight arms above the head. Don't keep them out here, keep them right here for this workout, okay? And then you're just gonna bring it back down and then reset, okay? With your breath, again, breathe out on the hardest part, meaning you push up. So you're gonna exhale really deeply. All right, that's kind of how it works. Little by little, you'll start getting it. I want you guys to start this out with like 3 sets of 12 to 15, just to build up the endurance and get that muscle strength to be able to go higher. So, number 3 is the pull-up. It is a very, very hard exercise to do. I understand that. And especially as a beginner, you probably think, there is no way you're gonna get me to do a pull-up when I haven't lifted in 2 years. And I understand that. And this is not about getting yourself all the way up. It's about working the right muscles that will activate that lift up, right? So if you incorporate these as a progression tool every single workout, I promise you'll get a little bit closer each time. So you're going to hop down here. You'll notice that you can perform this on any barbell squat rack. You can perform it on a Smith machine. But the important thing is to find a height that works for your body, right? So the taller you are, the higher this is gonna need to go. I recommend probably having your arms a little more extended than I am here. The biggest thing to know here is your foot placement is everything. So the closer your feet are to your butts, the easier to move. Because what's happening is that you're engaging a lot of the lower legs to push yourself up, right? The farther away your legs are, the straighter they are, it's gonna make it a lot harder because you're not gonna be using your lower legs as much and you're gonna be relying solely on your upper body, okay? Ideally, you would keep your pinkies around the first little line that you see in the barbell, and that way you can kind of have a guide on where you're starting from. Don't try to be obviously wider than shoulder width apart. I don't want you right here trying to lift, okay? I want you to have an open chest, all right? you're going to pull yourself up, ideally getting your chest over the bar, and you're gonna go back down. The biggest issue here is that people, when they start using their lower legs, they start flattening out and they do this, which turns into more of a row. So here, I want you to push your butt back as if you're sitting in a chair, and I want your back to look vertical, just up and down and going, in this plane rather than angled like this, okay? So let's try that again. You're going to kick off with your heels, all right? And you're going to lift yourself up off the floor as far as you can and then back down. The goal is to eventually just be able to tap these out. If you can only do this much, that's fine. It's still working the same muscle. I want you to try as hard as you can to lift yourself up, okay? So again, you're going to, ideally, when it's all said and done, it's gonna look a little bit like this. Tap and go, tap and go, tap and go. See how I'm lifting myself up? And that's what I want you to work towards. So every single week, I want you to incorporate this into your exercises, and I want you to increase. If you could only do 3 today,